Hey everyone, before we kick off the show, we wanted to remind you all that we now have a Patreon.
That's right. With tiers starting at just $1, you can access a whole slew of Patreon exclusive content, like articles and even full bonus episodes.
On the bonus shows, we'll be talking about anything and everything from retro video games, toys, movies, TV, junk food, anything we find interesting enough that we can't manage to squeeze into our normal shows.
The Patreon will help to support us and keep the show going. So, if you have the means or the interest, please consider joining. You can find us at patreon.com/Leftover Pizza Club.
And that's not the only way that you can support us. Something as simple as leaving a review for the show and subscribing will help us to keep growing and bringing you more content for years to come.
And while we're at it, check out our social media, at Leftover Pizza Podcast on Instagram and TikTok, at Leftover Pizza Club on Twitter, and of course, if you join the Leftover Pizza Club group on Facebook, we'll send you a free sticker for joining.
Lastly, you can check out our website, leftoverpizzaclub.com, for free articles, merch, and more.
And as always, thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Damn, did we just crush that in one go?
Damn. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning into the Leftover Pizza Podcast. So, Derek, how are you doing this fine afternoon here?
I'm doing very evil. How are you doing, Grimey?
A little evil, a little villainous. Is that what you're saying?
Did you like my villain laugh? I've been working on that. I've been smoking cigarettes left and right to get that.
You've been smoking your cigarettes.
Yeah.
So anyways, if you listen to our latest Patreon bonus episode, you already know how excited I am personally about today's topic, and those of you who don't listen to it, now you know.
Now you know.
Now you know.
What are you doing? You've already listened to our spiel at the beginning of the show, so you're right in there. You get it.
Yeah. So today's topic, villains of pop culture.
Can't live with them, can't live without them, am I right?
You're right. Maybe they hate blue hedgehogs. Perhaps they despise 4 mutant turtle teenagers. They might even torment teens in their dreams. If they're villainous, they're fair game. Who wants to start?
Well, considering that Dr. Robotnik is not in the room and I can't give him the floor, I think I will do you the solid of going first this time, Grimey. I'll do the least villainous thing I've ever done and volunteer my services to begin this show. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds great. Now, just before we start, spoiler alert. No TMNT. Sorry, guys.
Oh, my.
I'm sticking true to it this time.
My. Mark that down on the calendar. First time Grimey is abstaining from TM. Although you did sort of bring up them in the intro.
You're right.
I'll give it to you, though. That's all right. Okay. Wow. Mm-hmm. This is a big moment. All right. I can't wait to get into it. So, without any further ado, I guess I should hop into my first pick.
Holy smoke, he's a toon! Surprised? Not really. That lame brain freeway idea could only be cooked up by a toon. Not to stay tuned! Remember me, Eddie?
When I killed your brother, I talked! Just wait!
All right, Grimey. So, after that little intro that we played for this particular villain, I'm sure you're well aware, as is everybody already listening, that my first pick of the evening is none other than Baron von Rotten.
Who the fuck is Baron von Rotten?
Baron von Rotten. You know who he is.
No idea who he is.
Listen, the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit, he was played by Christopher Lloyd. His name is, sometimes they call him Judge Doom, but did you know that Judge Doom, his actual name is Baron von Rotten, because I learned that in my research for this episode. It kind of blew my mind.
So wait a minute. Did they ever even mention this in the movie at all, ever?
They don't, and I'm going to tease you a little bit, and I'm going to make you wait until after I spiel about why he's one of my favorite villains of all time. Okay, so you're going to just have to keep listening just for a little bit longer here. Okay, so as I mentioned, Judge Doom, that's the more common name for this character, portrayed by Christopher Lloyd in the hit 1988 half animation, half live action movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. One of my favorites growing up. I'm sure it was one of your favorites too.
Oh yeah, easily.
Who doesn't love this movie? Let's be honest.
Stupid dummies.
Big stupid idiots. Villains don't love
big
this
stupid
movie.
dummies. Yeah.
yeah, villains pretty much. So, I mean, from the time I was a little boy, I probably saw this movie for the first time when I was 4 or 5. I remember we used to go to a place around, don't laugh when I say this, a store called BJ's. Okay. I said don't laugh. It's a wholesale club. Think like Costco, but it really is up here in the Northeast. Well, they used to get movies, and they used to have really good deals on movies. So this is way back in the VHS days. I was walking down the aisle with my parents, and they saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit. My dad said, "You would love that movie." And he picked it up for whatever bargain price it was, $8 or something back in the day. Brought it home, watched it, loved it, obviously. Who wouldn't? I mean, you got Roger. He's the funniest guy around when you're 5 years old. Jessica Rabbit is the first time that you've had feelings about something.
Had feelings. Oh my God.
Very conflicted feelings, even at the age of 5.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also the first time, not the first time I was scared out of my mind, because I was kind of a chicken shit as a kid, as I've mentioned previously. But one of the first characters that I really remember kind of scarring me. Judge Doom. Jesus Christ, this guy was fucking evil, was he not?
Dude, I'd still get chills watching this. Every time I see them fucking beady eyes come out. Oh, God. And the dip.
Okay, so I'm glad that you brought up the dip and the beady eyes, because these are a couple of the things that obviously scared me and scarred me as a kid, and why he's one of the great villains. I mean, first of all, the dip. Can we talk about the dip?
We have to talk about the dip.
The dip is, according to the wiki, essentially oil, paint thinner, and film dissolver.
Okay, that makes sense.
Would be very effective against a toon, considering all of these things are going to destroy and break down the paints that they're using, the materials that they're using, the film cells that they're being painted on, all of these things. So the dip is a very, very lethal combination of gross, nasty things to kill a toon.
And I love how in the movie nobody really knows exactly what it is. So everyone, as it's spilling all over the ground, even the human people are just backing up on tiptoes, oh shit, I don't want to get in this stuff, but it's not going to kill them.
Not gonna kill him. Probably would make him sick if they licked it up off the floor, like my cat licks things up off the floor.
I lick things up off the floor too. I get it.
All the time. All the time I catch you doing that. But yeah, so a couple of moments that that he's truly evil is when he takes a little cute little shoe, the cartoon shoe, and he throws it in the dip, and he kills that little cute boy right on screen.
Why the shoe? The thing that can't even talk. He's just making them little noises, and he's he looks all happy and smiley before he's doing it, and then you just see the disappointment and fear in this thing's eyes, and that sticks with you for the rest of your life.
It does stick with you for the rest of your life. Though I will say, I don't think that scene scarred me nearly as much as it scarred everybody else that I've ever talked to about this. I get it. I understand why it would make a huge impression. But you mentioned earlier, it's the eyes. When you start seeing those cartoon eyes pop out of his head, holy crap, that was nightmare fuel. And you know what was scarier to me than the eyes even?
What's that?
Was when he gets run over Austin Powers style by the steamroller.
Yeah.
The scream that he makes, that high-pitched, wailing scream, it just pierces through you, just cuts through you like a knife. And I would hear that when I was going to bed at night. That was awful.
Oh, yeah. The whole time you're just thinking, this guy's all right. He's just Doc Brown. But then that happens. The eyeballs pop out of the head, and you're just what the fuck's going on? And then, like, the little, like, white... He's just, like, the bald head and the strand of hair. Dude, everything is just cynical about this bastard. Like, fucking scary.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, and actually, the thing that was scarier than that scream that he lets out is the aftermath when he actually gets back up and blows himself back up like some sort of freaky blow-up doll.
Oh, yeah.
It's just... I don't even like thinking about it to this day. Just gross and evil and disgusting. And I will say he also is very evil for ruining the shave and haircut bit for me for the rest of my life. Because I cannot hear somebody go, knocking, whatever it might be, without thinking about that son of a bitch just trying to kill Roger Rabbit. So fuck him. And that's why he's making my villain list of this evening.
Of this evening.
Okay. Now that I've kind of strung you along for quite some time, do you want to hear what I learned about him being called Baron von Rotten? Would you like
Baron
me
von
to
Rotten.
dive into this?
I need to hear this because, to the best of my knowledge, I knew most of everything about Roger Rabbit. I've never heard this before, so.
All right. Well, you're learning this evening because it doesn't actually come from the movie. Obviously, because you and I have seen the movie 1,000,001 times. It actually comes from the graphic novel Roger Rabbit, The Resurrection of Doom. Now, I am taking this verbatim off of the wiki, so credit to the Roger Rabbit wiki for everything I'm about to say, but this blew my mind for me to interpret it and put it as my own. It's explained that Doom was originally a toon named Baron von Rotten, who took up the role of playing antagonists in movies until an accident in which Von Rotten suffered a concussion and awakened believing that he was a real villain. So, you with me so far? He was a cartoon, he played a villain but wasn't a bad guy, gets clocked in the head, and thinks that he is a real villain. Okay?
Wow.
There's more. Okay? Von Rotten thus begins his crime career, robbing the First National Bank of Toontown, then killing Teddy Valiant by dropping a large piano on his head and spreading the stolen money all over the town in order to buy the election for Judge of Toontown, assuming the new name of Judge Doom. That's how he becomes Judge Doom. That wasn't his name to begin with. He steals an election. After the events of the film, Doom was later revived by another gang of weasels who used an old cell and a multiplane camera to bring him back to life, proving that it is possible to revive a toon. He disguises himself as a director, forcing Roger to purposefully tone down his acting in hopes of ruining his career, and has other designs in mind for his revenge. But his plans are exposed, and he is once again killed with dip, this time killing him for good. So I don't know about you, but this Roger Rabbit, The Resurrection of Doom graphic novel sounds like the perfect companion to this movie. And I kind of want to see it made into a prequel, sequel type of a deal. Because not only do we learn his backstory and how he became the character that he is and how fucking evil he is, he then gets brought back to life and tries to ruin the career of Roger Rabbit before being killed by his own creation. How poetic is that?
I love that. I love the idea. I love the idea of just bringing back Roger Rabbit as a whole. Like, this movie, franchise, whatever, deserves everything. I mean, like, why wouldn't they bring it back now?
Just give me some shorts on Disney Plus. Just some actual cartoon Roger Rabbit shorts. We did it 30 years ago. Just give me more of those. I don't even need a full sequel. Just bring Roger Rabbit back. Hey, if I get to see Judge Doom, I'd be happy, but Roger is good enough for me.
Yeah, and I mean, if all that fails, give me like a simulator where I can play patty cake with Jessica Rabbit.
Hey, you cannot be horny on Maine. You gotta
Patty
cut
cake.
that right now.
Patty cake.
Next time, Gadget. I promise I'll get you next time.
So, my first pick comes from a little old cartoon called Inspector Gadget.
You had me there for a second. I thought you were going to say a little old cartoon called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, we're not mentioning them. I can't. You already ruined it. It's like Don't Break the Sugar Bowl. Is that the fucking game?
The first rule about Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club. Is that what you're... I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, Inspector Gadget. Are you familiar with the cartoon or the movie more? I'm going to assume the movie more.
Bit of both. I watched the
Bit of both?
cartoon quite a bit growing up. I watched the movie equally as much. I'm gonna throw you a weird curveball though. You want to know the most Inspector Gadget I watched growing up? It was his weird spin-off that was like an educational show. Do you remember that?
No, I don't know that one.
Oh man, let me look this up. Hold on.
One thing I'm starting to learn about you is how into all these edutainment things you are.
That's all they had. Didn't have a choice. Here we go. Inspector Gadget's field trip. Yeah, no, so I actually watched this other spin-off show way more than the real cartoon or the movie. It was called Field Trip starring Inspector Gadget, and it originally aired on the History Channel. So,
Oh, fuck.
So yeah, I knew about him, but I knew about him while I was watching stock footage of foreign cities and countries, okay? As he was teaching me about traveling abroad, all right?
Did they bring Dr. Claw into it at all?
Yeah, he was there.
Really?
They were all there in some way, shape, or form. I mean, it was like 30 years ago, but, you know, I watched it.
Dr. Claw. He's an interesting character, right? I love Dr. Claw. Like he's probably the most relatable on my list, more than likely. Like this guy could probably be my dad.
Well, you know what? It actually makes a lot of sense because he's shrouded in shadows. He's always hanging out with a cat.
Right?
He's got a sick wardrobe. It just sounds like you, man.
Yeah, punk rock bracelet. You know, it's gold. Gold's not really my color. I'm more of a silver guy myself, but punk rock bracelet nonetheless. But so most people, I feel like anymore, they know either the cartoon, not so much the edutainment cartoon, but like the original cartoon, or they're more familiar with the movie. And most people that are younger than me seem to know more about the movie and like the McDonald's stuff and so on and so forth.
True.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. The cartoon Dr. Claw tells Dr. Claw from the movie when it's time to go to bed. Like it's just, I don't think there's any comparison at all. Like I just really love the cartoon one a lot more than the movie one. Allow me to compare and contrast. So, cartoon Dr. Claw, we only see like a portion of him, right? We see like the arm, his glove. It looks kind of metallic or whatever. It kind of looks like he's like a wrapped up mummy, but it's metal. Like clearly you could tell it's metal. And he's got the little spiky bracelet thing going on. And in the movie, he's got a claw and it's all like cybernetic and stuff. But like you see this guy full on right away, and he's got this like boring British accent, or English kind of accent. And just kind of
he kind of looks like James Bond almost. He's too good looking.
Yeah, he's very suave.
He's very much Wall Street villain. He's not a evil mastermind who's trying to take over the world type of a villain, though I suppose in modern times in real life that would be spot on, but that's not what we're talking about.
Movie one, clearly he's never been to a punk show. He's never put like Elmer's glue in his hair or anything. Probably never listened to Leftover Crack or anything like that.
This guy doesn't even fucking listen to The Offspring, I'll tell you what.
Dude, no. He's not throwing any oi oi ois out in the crowd. He's fucking bogus, dude.
Actually, no, I take back what I said. The movie version exclusively listens to The Offspring, okay?
Right. Okay, just exclusively?
Yeah.
But all in all, I think the cartoon version is just an all-around badass. Not to mention, he's a cat man, right? He likes cats. Right, the first episode, you see him in his little cat submarine, and Mad Cat is sitting there off to the right of him, and just kind of chilling, being devious.
This is the thing, common thread with villains, and it kind of baffles me. Villains, by their very nature, most of them, have a disregard for life, for caring about others. Right? That's sort of their whole shtick, is that they don't care who they destroy or who they throw under the bus, who gets killed, hurt, maimed, etc. So the fact that so many villains have a pet that they take good care of, it just doesn't add up for me. Why do all these supervillains have a cat that they just tend to all day, just petting them in their lap. It doesn't check out to me.
An extraordinary amount of villains with cats. You're right.
Yeah.
Dr. Evil, Gargamel.
Yeah. Not enough villains with dogs, though.
Right.
And none with hermit crabs. Haven't seen any with hermit crabs.
Hermit crab's a big no-no. But yeah, I don't know. I used to love this cartoon. I couldn't tell you much about it nowadays, other than the first episode that I watched. And I remember watching the movie and being really confused why he's like Inspector Gadget, the main character, is like this bumbling fool. I'm like, this doesn't happen in a cartoon. And as I'm searching through the cartoon, I'm like, oh, this totally happens. He's like a fucking idiot the entire cartoon. That's the whole premise of the cartoon is that he like has all these gadgets and doesn't know how to use them, basically, and is just dumb. Honestly, for our Saturday morning cartoon show, like, I would have picked this. I completely spaced on it. I don't know how I spaced in it, but I feel like bringing it up now, I've given it at least a little bit of justice, you know?
Just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. You know how you could give it more justice is by watching the entire edutainment field trips with Inspector Gadget series, and then coming back here on the next episode and giving me a full written report on each episode and which places you like the best.
Okay. Now, I'm curious, because this next little factoid I have here, you do see Dr. Claw in this edutainment show, right?
Sure.
Do you
Sure.
actually see his face?
No, definitely not.
No, definitely not. Okay, so weird story. You're aware that they made figures for this cartoon like a long time ago, right? I don't know which company did it, but someone did.
Yeah, it must have been Super 7 in 1994.
Without a doubt.
Not so true fact of the day, their first ever figure line. Yeah.
Yes. So there is an action figure of Dr. Claw. The front of it has a sticker over top of the face and the torso, so you can't see who it is. You have to buy the figure and open it up to see who it is, and you actually get to see what Dr. Claw looks like. And this is canon.
What a gimmick.
Yeah. You don't ever see him in the cartoon. This action figure, as well as the Super Nintendo game, this exact look for Dr. Claw is shown.
Wow. All right, that's pretty cool. I like that they stuck with it and they said, fuck you, pay me money if you want to see what this guy looks like. It's like the original DLC.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing. So if you haven't ever seen Dr. Claw before, go ahead and take a look at the pictures on Google. You can find it really, really quick.
No, you got to hop over to eBay and you got to pay that money. I'm sorry. I don't condone piracy.
Pay the money. I'm curious what they even are up to nowadays. Probably a little bit. Oh, here he is right now. He's on bid for $64 and $8 shipping. 4 bids, 2 days and 19 hours left. Or you can buy the figure in box, brand new, $114.99. Free 4-day shipping. Better get it now, 34 watchers.
Looks like I'm not eating any more dinners this month.
So, we meet again, Buzz Lightyear, for the last time.
Not today, Zurg.
All right, Grimey, sing it with me now. You got a friend in me. Come on, sing it.
You got a friend in me.
So my next pick is actually a tie. And I know you're going to say, that's cheating. I don't care. I just don't care. Because Toy Story 2 lives up to its name with 2. Because it has 2 really great villains. Technically, it has 3 great villains, but I'm not going to include Stinky Pete.
I'm not gonna say that that's cheating. I am gonna say that that's my move and take it back.
Uno Reverso card on you, my friend.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I think that's how it works. I haven't played Uno since like 4th grade.
Couldn't tell
So,
you.
yes, my second pick is actually 2 picks combined into one because Toy Story 2 is one of the greatest sequels of all time. I actually find myself, I think, going back to Toy Story 2 more often than I go back to Toy Story 1. And I won't go back to Toy Story 3 because it makes me cry. So fuck you all. Cry like a baby.
Big sad.
But, so as I mentioned 30 seconds ago, it has 3 villains. It has Zurg, it has Al McWiggin, and it has Stinky Pete. Stinky Pete is fantastic. He's not making the cut for me, though. Kelsey Grammer, Frasier, world-class actor. I just don't think he's evil enough in Toy Story 2 for me to warrant being a great villain. I think he's just sort of misunderstood because he just wants the gang back together. He just wants his family back. So he's sort of being evil, but for all the right reasons, if that makes sense.
His intentions are noble, but he's kind of a dick about it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That being said, his intentions are not good, and he is not noble. Al McWiggin, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
What a fucking dickhead. Okay.
Now, he's the chicken suit guy, right?
He is. He's the chicken man.
Okay.
As
couldn't remember.
as Rex is heard screaming a few different times throughout the movie, "It's the chicken man!"
Yeah. I mean, give him a break. He's got to drive all the way to work on a Saturday.
On a Saturday, all the way to work. Also, quickly, before we really get into it, if you're on Twitter, you should be following us, by the way, at Leftover Pizza Club. But if you are on Twitter, there is an account dedicated to Al McWiggin. They tweet once a week. It is that 10-second clip from this movie of him saying, "I gotta drive all the way to work on a Saturday." And then, of course, he drives his car across the street to the store that he owns. Al's
They do this every Saturday?
every Saturday without fail. So
That's amazing.
that's one thing I look forward to every Saturday, knowing that I get to see that clip. It really makes my life a lot better. So I'm going to start here with Al. As I mentioned, he's the owner of Al's Toy Barn, which is like the coolest looking toy store. I want to go to
It's
that
pretty
toy
up there,
store.
yeah.
Not even so much from what's inside the toy store. I just love it from the outside. Big red barn, and then it's somehow they managed to knock down like a skyscraper or something, and he built it in the lot where the skyscraper used to be. So he has these giant murals of just like farmland painted on all sides. So it's like this all-encompassing experience that you're at a toy farm. Love it. Love it. Love the concept.
Totally.
Love the concept. That being said, fuck this guy. Al? What an asshole.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick. I mean, he steals kids' toys. Whatever.
Exactly. I was going to
Honestly.
say, let me count the ways, but you kind of just, listed the main one. So he is, on my notes I'm looking at here, I said, he seems like the worst kind of boss / small business owner. And I said, he's putting his own needs before everyone else's, which is true, because when he finds out that he can sell the Woody doll and the complete set of the Woody's Roundup gang, he tells his employee on the phone, "You need to be at my house first thing tomorrow morning. I've got to catch a plane," and hangs up, like doesn't even give the employee a chance to say, "I can't be there," or whatever. He just expects people to wait on him hand and foot. So, dick move number 1. Dick move number 2, which really is number 1. Like you said, steals from kids. Woody was not up for sale. Somehow it made its way outside at the yard sale. He offers to buy it. He is clearly told, no, that's not for sale. And he fucking steals it. From a kid, nonetheless. How much of a dick do you have to do that?
You got to be like Al. That's how. That's
Gotta be like
on a
Al.
scale of 1 to Al, you have to be extremely Al to do something like that.
Extremely Al, exactly. And the other thing that I really wanted to touch on here, and I guess we could have a little bit deeper of a discussion on it, though it is a little bit of a sore spot. You and I talk about this all the time. He's sort of the perfect villain in the sense that he was the modern day eBay scalper before there really were modern day eBay scalpers. Just doesn't care who he's affecting by, stealing this or whatever. He's just out to get his money, and he doesn't care who he hurts in the process, type of a thing. And you and I talk about this all the time. Just anytime that we try to buy something online or anything that's like exclusive, like a limited drop or something, it's gone in 2 seconds. It's gone. And do you remember the chicken drop sweatshirt fiasco from a few years ago at McDonald's? They were giving away a free chicken sandwich and, it was a $5 chicken sandwich and sweatshirt combination. And people snatched those up and were selling them for $300 on eBay.
Oh yeah,
the same
It
day.
never fails. Never fails. It's always like moments after the purchase is completed and like they run out, sold out, or whatever. Those eBay listings roll in. You see like 50 of them within 10 seconds, and you're like, "What the fuck? How does that even work?"
I'm sure that you just experienced it recently with the whole, what's it called? Haulathon?
Haulathon? I did. And because I'm not talking turtles, I can't mention it. I'm sorry.
It's very evil of me. Would you call me a villain? I would.
Well, let me just say, something sold out really quick the first day. I went to AliExpress the very next hour after it sold out, and I got it for a little bit overpriced. And, I mean, it just got here like today. It took 2.5 weeks to get here. But yes, I deal with this on an almost monthly basis.
Yeah, it sucks. So I guess that's why Al is kind of a perfect villain, because I just see a lot of what goes on in the modern day scalping scene in Al. So the problem is, though, he's very likable. He really is. And he's likable because he's voiced by Wayne Knight, who you might know and everybody else might know as Newman from Seinfeld, as what's-his-face from the Jurassic Park, from the original Jurassic Park movie, from Space
Third
Jam.
Rock.
Yeah, 30 Rock. Third Rock. God damn it. I did it again.
No, you had it right. 30 Rock. Yeah.
He's probably on 30 Rock, too.
Yeah. No, a very likable character. You can't hate anything that guy does, and the fact that he's the voice of that guy, it really kind of, I don't know, it off balances it a little bit, because you want to enjoy this character for who he is, but like also he's a villain kind of, so like you fucking hate him too.
Exactly. He's such a dick, but you like him because he's voiced by Wayne Knight. Speaking of being voiced by Wayne Knight, I'm getting to my part 2 of this Toy Story 2 villain cacophony, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Big words tonight. So part 2 is Zurg. Obviously, Buzz's dad was supposed to be the big villain of Toy Story 2, but ends up sort of becoming the big villain of the Toy Story universe, because they reference Zurg in Toy Story 1, though we never really get a good idea of who this guy is or whatever. We just are to assume that he's another character in the toy line that is Buzz Lightyear.
Right.
So where does the Wayne Knight connection come in? Wayne Knight and Zurg. I actually found out in my research for this episode that Wayne Knight is the voice of Zurg in the animated Buzz Lightyear of Star Command series.
No. Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow. Did he do it in the movie too?
So this is where I'm not entirely sure if it was throughout the whole series or if it was just for the animated movie, because I think they were both called Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. Technically.
Yes.
One was just like The Adventure Begins, which was the movie, and then the rest was the series. So I would assume he reprised the role throughout the series.
I would hope so.
I
hope so.
You would hope so.
I'm just, you know what, even if it's not true, it's true now in my mind. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Don't correct us. Don't write in. I don't want to hear it. All I know is that he did technically voice Zurg at one point, and that blew my mind, because not only was he one villain in the Toy Story universe, he was technically 2. So that's pretty damn cool.
That is cool.
So Zurg, why am I picking Zurg? First off, just look at the guy. He's fucking cool as shit. Okay, he's got that menacing ass purple outfit.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
It sounds stupid, but it's true. He's got a bitchin' purple outfit with this big menacing red like Dracula cape, and he's got horns, which is badass as hell. He's got glowing red eyes, and he's got this big toothy frown that's just always perpetually frowning. So he just looks so mean. And the thing that I always liked about him is, and this is going to sound really stupid. It is, but it's the truth. He's got that big Z logo, like for Zurg, like it's on his belt.
Oh, yeah.
And the Z logo, do you remember Zenith TVs?
Yeah, totally.
It just always reminded me of a Zenith TV. And I thought Zenith TVs, when I was a kid, I thought that they were the cool TV because they had a cool logo. So
I mean, it is cool.
It is cool. So my brain made that connection between Zurg and Zenith, and I said, this guy is cool.
He's pretty cool.
He's pretty cool.
I love Zurg. I love that, like, in the first movie, he's mentioned quite often, but you don't really know who he is. So he's just like this mysterious character. But then 2 comes around, and they really hype it up. They're like, oh yeah, Zurg's here. Fucking
Yeah. So in part 1, it's actually at the gas station when they're having that fight underneath the car before they're both left behind and have to find Andy and Andy's mom again. Buzz mentions to Woody that Zurg is secretly building a super weapon located at the galaxy's edge, and the super weapon is capable of destroying entire planets. So basically, they really, a few times, they sell the idea that Zurg is essentially Darth Vader. And I mean, hello, Death Star. He's building a Death Star, which you gotta love it. And I mentioned it earlier, he's Buzz's dad. That's where they take it at the end of Toy Story 2. They do the whole I'm your father thing. And I kind of love that payoff. You know what else I love?
I do. I dig it.
You know what else I love? I love his gun.
Yeah, they're like the little tennis ball.
I love his gun.
Looks
Exactly.
Like
it looks so badass. It's called the Ion Blaster. And I always wanted one when I was a kid, specifically for the reason that you just said. It like shoots little Nerf balls out at Buzz.
Yeah. Here's a pitch. Nerf should make a Zurg figure, and it should shoot little Nerf balls out.
I agree. I'm sure there must be like a version of it that exists somewhere. But even if they gave like a full-size Ion Blaster gun, like that would be a kid's arm size. The last thing I'm going to say about my giant-ass Toy Story 2 2-pick, 1-pick pick. The reason that I latched on to Zurg to begin with is obviously the opening scene of the movie when Buzz is jumping around the planet and he's trying to get to Zurg and defeat Zurg and do the whole thing. And then it sort of pulls back and you realize that it's been Ham and Slinky and Rex all playing this video game on a Super Nintendo, nonetheless.
Super Nintendo. Nothing else. A Super Nintendo.
And it's called Buzz Lightyear Attack on Zurg. It is like the most beautiful looking 3D video game. And then just bait and switch you. But that's our first introduction to Zurg. And I actually bought the Toy Story 2 video game when I was a kid based on the idea that it would basically be that. I would get to play that game. And it was the saddest moment of my life when I fired that game up. And that was nowhere to be found on my little N64. It was a tough day.
I had it for Dreamcast, I believe.
It's a good time.
And I fell in love with it. I love that game so much.
It's a good time.
Definitely is not that game, for sure.
Not that game. But they actually did, for those of you listening and you're a little interested, they made a level and you basically play that entire game in the Toy Story 3 video game that came out with like Xbox 360, PS3, that type of a thing. So you can technically play Buzz Lightyear Attack on Zurg. So, that's it. I'm done. I'm your father.
Yes, hurry home, princess. We wouldn't want to miss old Daddy's celebration, now would we? Ha! Celebration indeed. Oh, bah! In my day, we had fantastical feasts when I lived in the palace. And now look at me. Wasted away to practically nothing.
All right, Derek, for this next pick, we gotta go under the sea.
You've been waiting to break that one out for a while, haven't you?
I have. Oh, it's so dumb. It's something me and my girlfriend say back and forth to each other all the time. I don't know why. There's never even like a good opportunity. It's just in the back of my head, and I just say it, and it's funny. And I'm glad that it is still funny here right now with our conversation. So. But yeah, I couldn't do a villain show and not talk about Ursula, the sea witch from The Little Mermaid. She is fucking terrifying. This bitch used to terrify me. I'm gonna say it straight. Like, have you ever actually just looked at this person before?
She's
like,
a hag.
Look.
She is the definition of a hag. I'm gonna say that right off the bat. I mean, she's chic a bit. You know, she kind of cares about fashion, but that bitch a hag. Okay.
Now, The Little Mermaid used to be my sister's favorite movie.
Same, yeah.
So, like, we watched this nonstop all the time, naturally. If you haven't seen Ursula before, picture this, like, big octopus woman creature, black and purple tentacles, gray skin, short white hair, And very reminiscent of like drag queen kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like she's got a very draggy vibe to her. Lipstick, but like a lot of very manly features, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say picture Melissa McCarthy, but I guess you did a better way of describing it.
Pretty accurate too, though.
It is, because she's playing her in the live action remake, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I did see that throughout my research here. Interesting choice, but accurate nonetheless.
I think she'll do a good job. I think it makes sense. And before anybody takes it the wrong way, I don't think Melissa McCarthy is a hag. That's not what I'm saying, okay?
Yeah, we also don't think she's all that funny.
Well, that's a different issue altogether, but...
So, I don't know if you've ever really dug much into the Little Mermaid lore or anything specifically, but Ursula, there's a lot of shit about Ursula out there. Stuff I didn't even know about. With all these different shows, like there's a new live action coming out. There's that, I don't remember what the hell that show is that's on. It's like a live action kind of a drama, also action-packed, weird series. It's a Once Upon a Time or something like that.
Oh, yeah, they had that Disney Once Upon a Time series for a while there.
Yeah, well, she's in there too, and that's where a lot of this lore comes from. Also, there's like a book. It's, I don't know, I guess it serves as like a prequel sequel to The Little Mermaid as well, and it has a lot of this stuff in it.
Okay.
But anyways, they never really allude to it in the movie much, other than like this one small part where she mentions that she lived in Atlantica at one point in the palace. But it turns out that she's actually Triton's sister, which would make her Ariel's aunt.
Mm-hmm. So a very Zeus Hades thing going on there.
Yes, okay. Very much so.
Interesting.
So when their father, Poseidon, passes, he hands them each a magical artifact, the Nautilus shell and the trident, meant to aid them in ruling each of their halves of the seven seas. But instead, Ursula, she ultimately uses her power to take advantage, mutilate, and kill other things. So, like, she's banished from Atlantica. If she's not enough for you, she comes with these two moray eels. There's her little minions, Flotsam and Jetsam, I believe they're called. I don't really care for the names, but they're fucking goofy and kind of scary. And the trio together is enough to make you piss your pants a little bit when you're a 3-year-old kid.
Oh, big time. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So the way that you were describing her, and she was like killing everything because she really liked maiming things and hurting things. That really just sort of sounded like Rob Zombie's Halloween. So maybe Rob Zombie should have directed the live action remake. I'm just saying it sounds like a good fit.
Dude, could you imagine? That would be sick. Like, I think, if anything, I mean, I know they got, what is it, Pooh.
Oh, Blood and Honey.
Is that fucking honey? Blood and Honey? Yeah, that one. I mean, if that's anything, I know that one didn't go over as well as anyone hoped, but, like, it's not a bad idea having a horror Disney franchise come out.
Rob Zombie's at the helm. Oh my goodness, perfect. He would make Sherry Moon into a Disney princess. I would pay for a movie ticket just to see that alone.
Yeah. But Ursula herself, I just imagine like what he could do with that character. Wow, that would be insane. But me personally, I could get to the part where Ariel's carrying back her dinglehopper, and to the first little appearance of her, that's when I would shut this movie off. I could not watch past that. That was the end for me. No ands, ifs, or buts about it.
That's it. So you just never saw how the movie ended.
I would sneak away a little bit and come back. Dude, I don't know. It's just fucking, just completely terrifying.
So the idea for me of somebody being able to steal somebody else's voice, that's always what set me off. Because it was like, you can hurt somebody, you can stab them, whatever. People can heal from being stabbed. How is she stealing a voice? That freaked me out. And then the voice is kept in a locket? What dark magic is this? And I agree with you. The little eels, they add to the spook factor. They add to the villainy, because while they are idiots, they're scary idiots. They've got that.
They are. Yep.
That weird little way of talking that's very
very monotone and very that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah. So everything about it, and I mean, it doesn't help that she's underwater, because if I'm being honest, Grimey, the sea scares me. You're never going to catch
same.
me on a boat. Okay? Maybe I'd go to space because, there's stars in space, a little pretty. I don't know what's under that water. There's so many things that we haven't discovered in the depths of the ocean. She could be real for all I know. And I don't want to run across that woman. That hag.
I actually hate both the sea and space, so like, it's a lose-lose for me. But
So thank God you're on the ground.
yeah, the eels are kind of neat though. They, I don't know if you ever watched the whole thing. You've watched it a bunch of times, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, this used to be, just like you, on repeat in my house because of my sister. So whether or not I wanted to watch it, I did watch it.
I love how the eels, their eyeballs form like a crystal ball, and she just kind of like, I don't know, sees into it. It's pretty weird. Pretty cool though.
Yeah, again, it's that dark magic, and that's really what set her off. It's that combination of deep sea and dark magic. It's a no-go from me. She is evil. She's probably the perfect Disney villain, if I'm being honest. All right, before we end this Ursula little topic here, I just have to ask, who do you think is more evil in the Little Mermaid animated movie? Do you think it's going to be Ursula? Or do you think it's that fucking psycho chef who's trying to stab up Sebastian?
Well, obviously the chef. Dude, that guy's menacing too. Like, completely, just fucking scary.
You come across a crab and the first thing that you find out is that it talks and you want to kill it? What kind of an idiot, what kind of a psychopath do you have to be? Nobody should trust that man.
Dude, the mustache. The mustache is always what, like, scared me about this guy. I don't know, fucking creepy.
I can't believe this guy. I throw everything I've got at him, and it doesn't even... What are those?
I don't know. I thought they looked kind of dashing.
I've got 24 hours to get rid of this bozo. Well, the entire scheme I've been setting up for 18 years goes up in smoke, and you are wearing his merchandise!
All right, so unintentionally, this is sort of turning into the Disney villains show, I realized, as we sort of put our two lists together, because my next pick is Hades from the 1997 animated Disney Hercules movie, Grimey.
Very nice. I have something to get off my chest.
Oh, okay, please do.
I've never watched Hercules.
Holy cow, that is a huge blind spot, I feel. Why? Can I ask why? Like, is it just because you never
there was
had it as
never
a
an
kid,
opportunity.
Never an opportunity. So it's not due to lack of interest, or?
No, it wasn't. No, I never had the opportunity. I think my grandmother had the VHS tape, and it was always gone. Like, for some reason, it wasn't in the case, the little black diamond case that it comes in. Yeah, that was never there. I do remember, however, going to, I think it was Taco Bell that had the plates, or was it Burger King?
I think it was McDonald's.
It was McDonald's. It wasn't either of those.
I'm pretty sure it was McDonald's, yeah.
All right, well, I went to whatever cancerous fucking food chain, and I got the plate with all the singing bitches on it.
Okay, so you owned merch, but you've never seen the movie. So you have to change
Never.
that. Because, well, you know what? I'm going to take this as an opportunity to convince you right now why you
you're going to pitch the movie to me right now? Okay.
I'm going to pitch the movie to you. So, first and foremost, Hades, he's the main villain of this movie, and I love him. But again, similar to my Toy Story 2 pick, it's not really just about Hades. If we're talking villains, I think per villain, like, you get more villain per villain when you watch Hercules. Okay. All right. It's like villains squared or something. So Hades was played by James Woods in this movie. Not a great guy in real life, but the character is great. So we're just looking past it for this for this year. And actually, I found out he's been playing this version of Hades this came out in 97, 25 years. He's come back every time that they've needed somebody to voice Hades because they're putting him in House of Mouse or a video game or whatever it might be. He's done it every single time. So the guy's stuck with it at least.
Now, is he in the cartoon at all?
Yep, he shows up in the cartoon.
Okay.
Yeah, Hercules the animated series or whatever it's called, where he's teenage Herc. He pops up every now and then in there as well. But, I mean, let's just start with the looks of Hades, right? He's just a cool-looking dude. He's got that really, like, gray, nasty skin. Of course, he lives in the underworld, so he's never seeing any light, and he's hanging around dead people and souls all the time. So, yeah, he's looking a little grody, you know?
Doesn't he have, like, he can, like, make flames pop out of his thumbs? I remember that from the commercial back in the day. 2 thumbs up.
That's right. He can make the flames. Exactly. He can sort of snap, and then fog will come in, or flames, or whatever. He's got those magic powers, and he's got a really cool set of blue flame hair. So he's technically bald, but his head's always flaming. So I guess that makes sense, because no hair would grow there if your head's always on fire.
True. I'm already thinking about my next Halloween costume, honestly. I think I got something going for me.
Yeah, just a bunch of hand sanitizer and light your head on fire. Yeah, paint yourself gray. He's got very, very sharp teeth and these bony, pointy fingers. So he's creepy looking to begin with. But it's kind of funny, because while he is evil, when they brought James Woods in to audition for the character, he didn't do what they asked him to do. They asked him to play it straight, and they asked him to play it scary. And he decided to play it more as a sleazy car salesman. And it works. And that's exactly how the character is. And he's scarier because of it. Because he's pretty aloof and pretty funny, but you can tell that this guy is menacing. Because he's just, he's going to get what he wants, no matter how he has to get it. So, Hercules, we mentioned about how Triton and Ursula were brother and sister, making Ariel her niece. Hades and Zeus are brothers, and Zeus gets Hades sent down into the underworld. Hades is pissed off, and he wants to take over Olympus, and the only way he figures that he can do that is by killing Zeus's son, Hercules, as an infant. So this guy is an evil dickhead, and he doesn't do it himself. He convinces his 2 little minions, Pain and Panic, to go up and kill Hercules. Obviously, it doesn't work out, but just the fact that this guy convinced somebody else, like a sleazy car salesman would, to go kill a baby, it should just speak to volumes about how evil he is. So that's Hades. He's technically my pick, but like I mentioned before, Grimey, I need to sell you on this movie, and it's not about Hades, it's about having more villains per villain, right? So, what this movie is really good for is about 10 other monsters that show up throughout the movie. We've got the 3 Fates, which if you've never seen them, you need to Google them as soon as you can. These are 3 truly old hags who share one eyeball. So they do it like a real monster style, where they're just passing this eyeball around and popping it in, popping it out so they can see what's going on. And they're basically they're responsible for saying the fates of the universe. Like, this is going to happen. This is how the universe is going to end. This is how things align.
Are we still talking about the Disney cartoon movie?
Uh-huh.
Dude, that sounds grim as fuck. Why haven't I seen this yet? Like, holy shit.
I'm telling you, okay? And then there's more. So that's just the start. Then we also have the Titans who pop up. This is towards the end of the movie, but Hades is trying to resurrect the Titans, but has to wait for planets to align and whatever. The Titans, Grimey, are just giant fucking kaiju monsters, okay? No, not even a joke. There's a Cyclops, there's an ice, lava, and tornado Titan, and it sounds exactly like how you'd think they would be. Big one made of ice and breathe ice and just like destroy things by chilling shit down. And then there's one who's made of lava and he's just burning cities down and tearing things down. And they're trying to get to Olympus so they can destroy and take over Olympus for Hades. That's not all. At one point, we see Nessus the Centaur. That's one of the first monsters that Hercules has to fight. And he's kind of fucked up looking. Not too bad, but, you know, he's a little fucked up. And then the big one, Hydra. Do you know what a Hydra is from Greek mythology? Have you ever seen these?
Isn't it like a dragon with, like, a bunch of different heads or something?
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of the best scenes in the movie because Hercules is tasked with cutting the heads off of the Hydra to kill it. The problem being is that every time he cuts a head off, 2 more grow back where it was. And it is nasty. It's like one of the first things I'd ever seen in my life that was just gloopy and gross. Like every time he's cutting heads off, you see it. It's like gloopy and not quite bloody because Disney couldn't really do blood, but it was like snotty and slimy.
Okay, yeah.
And he gets
what they were allowed to
swallowed
get
at
away
one
with.
point. Yeah, and he like cuts a belly open of this beast. It's wild, man. It is absolutely
God.
wild. So, I really picked Hercules not because of Hades, but because of Hades
All the other
plus
good stuff.
all of this other stuff that's going on. So, if I haven't sold you yet, I don't know how, because
Oh,
this
you've
seems
sold
like it
me.
would be right up your alley.
I'm looking at all these different monsters and stuff right now. So I'm looking at, Hydros, the Lurker, Arces, the Cyclops, Lithos, the Mountain King, Stratus, the Mystic Voice, Pyros, the Lord of the Flame. These guys just all look like Mighty Max characters to me, which makes them like 1,000 times more appealing. Now, what's the creepy woman 3 lady thing? What did you call her again?
The 3 Fates.
3 Fates Hercules. Okay. Oh, okay. So they are 3 separate people. See, I had this really weird idea that they were all connected.
Oh, that would have been even creepier. But it's almost like they are connected because they're always together.
Yeah, and they're sharing this one eyeball, so like they have to stay together, or they'll never have the chance of being able to see again, I suppose. This just got more amazing to me. Yeah, okay, I'll change this. I promise. I'll change my ways.
You're going to love it. And this is going to be the point that I end on here. We were just talking about The Little Mermaid and how, as of this recording, it's not out yet, but soon there's going to be a live-action remake because that's all Disney's been doing for the past 10 years, is remaking all of these animated classics to not so great success. Most of them have been pretty bland and pretty boring. The only movie that needs to be remade and that they need to commit to keeping it dark and keeping the monsters big and gross and gnarly is Hercules. I would kill to see a live action version of this where it's essentially one buff man versus a bunch of kaijus. Amazing. I have no words to describe how good that movie could be. And it's the only one that sort of makes sense to me in a live action format because they could make it bigger. They could make it gnarlier. They could really dig into the Greek ancestry and show us a lot of great ancient Greek imagery.
Oh yeah.
I just need it.
Yep. If they don't go that route with it, I say they give it to Guillermo del Toro and he does the whole Pinocchio thing to it because that looks creepy. And I really think that kind of thing would do it justice. But yeah, I'm all for a live action Hercules. After seeing all that, dude, they would make a killing with this. You kidding me?
Better yet, give it to Guillermo and have him make it live action. Case solved.
Perfect. Make it happen.
They won't.
No.
They won't.
That'll never happen.
Now let Captain Planet come near me. I'll shorten his half-life down to nothing. Huh? Well, it's high time you got back here, Leadhead. Don't give me the silent treatment. Just remember that lead suit won't keep this out. Hey! What are you doing? Did I say Leadhead? I meant lead suit.
So it's really funny that like most of my picks right now are coming back from stuff I wish I would have mentioned in the Saturday morning cartoon show, or the Saturday morning show, sorry.
Yeah.
And this next one, no different. I'm talking about Captain Planet. So there's a villain from there. He's a radioactive mutant eco-villain who thrives on radiation and toxic waste. I'm talking about this guy right here.
Oh my God.
This is Duke Nukem.
Wait a minute. That doesn't look like Duke Nukem.
He's definitely not the Duke Nukem you were thinking of. So there's a funny story. I'll get to that later, though. But before, if you haven't seen Duke Nukem before, I mean, to describe him, he kind of has this thing from Marvel kind of going on with him. He's got the yellow skin, and it's not even skin. It's like scaly and kind of rock looking. Depending on which version you see, he's got a red mohawk. He's seen two different ways. Like this one, I'm holding up the figure so Derek can see him. This one, he's got like this kind of blue, almost looks like a biker outfit, almost like a not like a motorcycle biker, but like a mountain bicyclist.
The two things that I'm seeing is that it doesn't look like a jacket. It looks like a sai, like he's doing karate, like he just got out of the local strip mall from his karate
like
lesson.
a gi?
A gi, thank you. Not a sai. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Sai.
No, those are the knives. God. See, I never took karate. I need to learn something. But his midsection looks like a corn cob.
Yeah, he's very corn cobby. You know what? That's a great comparison. He definitely has the corn cob abs.
That's getting my summer bod ready, going for those corn cob abs.
So his character represents the misuse of nuclear power. He's dangerously radioactive. That his sidekick actually wears a radiation-blocking lead suit to be around him. Thus, his character name, Lead Suit.
Oh
so
they didn't even try with that one.
No, not at all. But I'm not going to lie, recently I've kind of obsessed over this character a little bit. Again, like Inspector Gadget, I couldn't tell you much about Captain Planet. I used to watch it all the time as a kid, and I still couldn't tell you much about any of the episodes in specific. Like, I know the basic premise, you know, the Captain Planet and the Planeteers. The Planeteers come together, they have the rings, and, you know, go, Planet, go, and he just decides to come out and kick some ass. But there are a lot of different villains in this cartoon series, but I can't think of anyone that's better than Duke Nukem. There were toys made of them, like I showed Derek the one. There was one in specific that I was after for a very long time. He's a little bit on the pricey side. I don't know exactly what happened here. I don't think he was released in the US. A lot of them look like they're from Great Britain. So, like, if you go on eBay and look up this figure, they're all in, like, Great British pounds. But I got the other variant of him, this, like, Hawaiian suit wearing
that
guy
is
here.
badass.
I know this one, like, glows in the dark. Which one's better? Which one you grabbing? You're going for the fucking bicyclist karate gi guy, or are you going for Hawaiian button-up t-shirt?
Yeah, I'm going for a Magnum Duke over here.
He's got the Hawaiian t-shirt, the surfer trunks, he's got the green mohawk, and I don't have batteries in him, but his eyeballs actually light up. He's got a little battery pack in the back here.
Oh my god, how did they get such a better version of that action figure? It's like night and day.
I have no idea. I just got him, like, probably last month, and I literally come down here and I like kiss him goodnight every single night. Yeah, he's the coolest thing in my room right now, and I have a lot of cool things in here. Another thing I really love about his character is there's not really any backstory of why he has any of the powers he has. He can generate and manipulate radiation as well as electricity. The electricity allows him to change his size in his body and like the shape. One episode, he's big enough to fit Captain Planet in his hand. He has X-ray vision. So he's got all kinds of different powers, and there's no backstory. We don't know why he is this, like, yellow, scaly, corncob-abbed mohawk dude that has all these powers. And I kind of love that about him. It's very Joker-esque, where, like, we don't really know the backstory, where there's different hints and clues, but, like, he's just a badass villain, and he wants to fuck some shit up for no reason.
Yeah, we just want to know how he got those scars.
Do you want to know how I got him?
If we're talking Captain Planet, there's only one villain that I can say is probably a more menacing villain, and that's Captain Planet himself. Tree.
Don Cheadle, yeah, dude, that's terrifying. Honestly, he turns his own Planeteer into a tree. He's like, "Fuck you." There's the guy with the heart one too. He's like, "You're a tree now." So yeah, like I was saying earlier, there's some confusion here where we all know that there's a character in video games, PS1, computer, all that stuff. Duke Nukem, right? Everybody knows Duke Nukem. The cartoon came out first with Duke Nukem as a character. Then Duke Nukem the video game came out, fully knowing well that there was a character called Duke Nukem already. So they changed, just in case they got in trouble, they changed the spelling from Nukem to Nukum, just to avoid any copyright if there was any. They went back and searched for copyright on the character. Little did they know, they didn't have any copyright for the character. So they just changed the name back to Nukem, and everything was good. So they got out lucky on that one.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting.
So, very cool character. I can't say enough about this. I'm glad I have this figure now. I wish I had batteries in here to make sure it worked, but the listing said it did. So I'm just going to trust the listing's word. And if you haven't seen this figure, please go check him out because he's so fucking cool.
I'll do you one better. Grimey's going to post up that photo in the Leftover Pizza Club Facebook group, and you have to join to be able to see it. Haha.
Take that.
I love bright fruity tricks.
Tricks?
It's a part of this complete breakfast. And it's just for kids.
This sticker will make it just for rabbits. Sweet, colorful, bursting with fruity flavor. Finally, Trix is mine.
Yours?
Tricks are for rabbits, see? Whoops.
A sticker. Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids.
Oh, I'm stuck.
Now you can stick your name on all your stuff with fun trick stickers and mark boxes.
All right, Grimey. My last pick of the evening. Real simple, real cut and dry. In and out. I'm not spending too much time on it, so here goes nothing. My last villain of the evening is the Trix Rabbit. That's it. It's fucking Trix Rabbit.
I mean, he's villainous, you know. There are reasons. I can't wait to hear yours, but...
Okay. First of all, I don't even know how to put this into words. But he steals, so fuck him. All right, that's my one and only reason. I just don't like him. I think he's just a bad rabbit who should be happy that he hasn't been hunted for sport. Okay, so he should be happy that he's alive. And he should be good enough, happy enough with the grass and the lettuce that he has access to, maybe a carrot here and there. But he's not. Yeah. He gets greedy, all right? And he gets greedy in the same way that Al McWiggin gets greedy, okay? And he tries to steal from fucking kids again. Fuck him.
This one caught me off guard. I kind of see it, but at the same time, I often wondered if he's just kind of a misunderstood rabbit. Which is kind of the perfect villain backstory.
Which means that he's even more evil than I'm making him out to be. We just don't know it yet.
Yeah, there's darkness underneath those 2 ears. I know it.
Yeah, darkness underneath those ears. I would just like to say that in trying to do some research on this character, there's not much to be found here. Okay, so according to the Heroes Wiki, Grimey, when you actually search it up, he's on the Heroes Wiki. So
he's on Heroes Wiki.
Yeah, not on like cereal mascots wiki or like marketing wiki. He's on Heroes Wiki, and he is officially categorized as a do-gooder character.
A do-gooder.
How the fuck is this Trix fucking rabbit categorized as a do-gooder on the Heroes Wiki? I think that's really why I'm picking him for my last villain tonight, because I need to set the record straight. I need this man, this stupid rabbit, stripped of his Heroes Wiki privileges. I need him stripped of the ranking of do-gooder. Okay, let me break it down for you. First of all, doesn't even have a real name. He is the Trix Rabbit. That's usually what he goes by. Other times he goes by Silly Rabbit or Trix. Simply Trix. Okay? So the idiot doesn't even have a real name as far as we can tell. Okay?
Yeah, get a real name, dummy.
And he was introduced in 1959, Grimey. 1959.
Is it that long ago, 1959?
This fucking guy has been stealing for 64 years unsuccessfully. That's the kicker of all of this, because he's been trying to steal from kids for almost 7 decades and has never gotten a full bowl. And he's even as smart enough most times to wear a disguise, right? So what kind of a dumbass evil rabbit puts on a fucking trench coat and can't walk away with a single bowl of cereal for 64 years?
Speaking of the trench coat, Flasher vibes, if I might say so. So there's that. The bunny is stealing the cereal from the kids, right? Which in turn makes those kids go off and steal cereal from the Lucky Charms guy because they're always after his Lucky Charms. You know what I mean?
Oh, so
there's a tragic story in there.
The tragic story, and actually it's a very evil story because not only is he stealing and being greedy himself, he's spreading it like a disease. He's causing crime to spread and forcing others to steal from other innocent folk. You're strengthening my case with every word that you speak.
I didn't want to believe it at first, but the deeper we dive into this, the more we uncover. All right, so here are the facts. We know that he's a flasher, for one.
Yeah, creep.
Steals from kids.
Yep, double creep, double asshole.
Yeah, promotes crime. Now there's kids that are hungry. They have to go and steal fucking cereal from another cereal mascot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a dick.
He's a dick, and he's a villain. And I won't stand anybody who doesn't agree with me. If you're not convinced of this now, at the end of this last pick of mine, that he is a villain, you're never going to be, and you're just as bad as he is.
I tried to think.
Look!
No! It can't be.
What is it?
It can't be.
What did you do, Ray? Oh, shit.
It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
All right, guys, my last pick of the evening has to go out to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I, to the fucking love the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and all his marshmallowy goodness.
Yeah, I mean, if you couldn't get TMNT in there, you had to at least sneak Ghostbusters in there.
Ghostbusters
one or
had
the
to
other.
be it.
I've accepted that at this point.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't feel like I talk about Ghostbusters enough for how big of a fan I am for this franchise. Like, it's always TMNT, so I'm glad that I could steer off into the other, of the big two.
Yeah.
But anyways, the first appearance in the original 1984 film, this cute mascot from a fictional brand of marshmallow seen in the film. He is also the physical manifestation of the apocalyptic Sumerian deity Gozer. The character was created to show that he seems harmless and puffy and cute, but given the right circumstances, everything can be turned black and become evil. I read on Wiki the likeness of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was inspired by Peter O'Boyle, a security guard at Columbia Pictures, and it also combined elements of the Michelin Tire Man and Pillsbury Doughboy.
I can see, I don't know the security guard, but I can definitely
Same.
see the influences from the Michelin Man and from the Pillsbury Doughboy. And
absolutely. Before
Before we dive too far into it, I just want to touch on the fact, what you had mentioned just a little bit ago, about how it's a fictional marshmallow brand. Because obviously, as time has marched on, it's no longer a fictional marshmallow brand. It's existed in many different forms at this stage of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was a kid growing up, my parents showed me this movie. I loved it. I could not wrap my brain around the fact that the Stay Puft marshmallows weren't a real thing. Did you also have this problem, or was it just me?
No, so I was actually under the premise when I was a kid that they were a real thing because I was told they were. I was like, yeah, this is a real thing. Like, my friends, family, they all told me that these were real. This was an actual brand. Come later on, actually, when the 2021, is that when it came out? 2021 movie came out?
Yep.
When they released actual brand name Stay Puft Marshmallows, that was around the time when I was like, oh, this wasn't a real thing this whole time. I've been duped. A fan of Ghostbusters has been duped. Like, fuck all you guys.
Yeah, it's just really hard for me to understand as a kid, because it's like, so they made fake marshmallows and a mascot for these fake marshmallows, and they never made real marshmallows. I don't believe it. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
It's kind of ingenious, honestly. Like, the brain power that must have had to stem from these people to be able to do something. Like, I'm just speaking from my own personal being. I'm not smart enough to think of stuff like this in the moment or any span of time. Like, it's truly amazing to me that they made something that actually stuck with kids into believing that it was real. Like that was a real brand.
And created enough demand over time that it became a real brand. It's just, it's genius because it just ensures that they'll make money for the rest of their lives and for the rest of their kids' lives. Because there's always going to be people who want to buy Stay Puft marshmallows. But I digress.
So I don't know if you've known this. I didn't know this until like just today when I looked it up. But Stay Puft was actually one of many evil giant monsters for the set of the original film.
I had no idea.
All these other giant monsters were scrapped all the way to the point that Stay Puft was the only one left, and they kept them. So like there was, I don't know how many other monsters that were supposed to be in this, like kaiju style monsters. We gotta just call it how we see it. Like Stay Puft is a kaiju, right?
Oh, 100% he's a kaiju. So what you're saying is that on the set they actually had to do real kaiju style fighting amongst actors to find the top dog, and that's who got to reign supreme.
That's the only way it could have went down.
So like 16 other people died in the search for the best kaiju for Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it was like that one part in the Dark Knight where like the Joker breaks the pool stick and tells them to make it fast.
Yeah, I like.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah. No, that's don't look into it. That's actually what happened. All these poor stunt people in suits died so that Stay Puft could reign supreme. That's amazing.
So yeah, Stay Puft's the only one that remained. Subsequently, he has made his way to other Ghostbusters lore from like comics. He was in a couple of video games. The animated series was another big one, as well as like toys. And supposedly there was like a live show at one point in time. I don't know. Didn't look into that much.
At Universal Studios, there was a stage show. You can actually look it up. There's some old camcorder footage on YouTube, so you can watch the whole show if you want. But there is a giant Stay Puft, at least his head, in the background. That's like true to life size from the movie, which it's pretty cool, and it's a shame that it's not there anymore.
I know I say this about a lot of different things, but this might be my favorite villain ever. Honestly, he's such a cool villain. And I love that he's still kind of prevalent now. Like, they never really lost touch with this character. They've just kind of transformed him. And now we have Mini Puffs. And that was like the biggest and greatest comedic relief of the film, I feel like, was these Mini Puffs. We talked about, if you were listening to our Patreon show that just happened here, our last one, we talked about Funko Pops and how we kind of basically avoid at all costs. They made Mini Puffed Funko Pops. I mean, like probably like 12 to 15 of them. It took every ounce of my being not to buy every fucking variant of this character. I didn't buy one, and that took a lot out of me, I'm not going to lie.
And you're glad that you didn't buy them, because then they came out with those tiny little, they look like the marshmallow fluff containers. And then they had all those little blind boxes that were even cuter than the Funko Pops, because, I mean, it doesn't take much to be cuter than a Funko Pop, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion.
But yeah, you're correct. I'm really glad I didn't buy a bunch of Funkos, and I instead bought, let's see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 little cans of the Play-Doh, you know, the little Play-Doh containers that have the Mini Puff. I don't even know what you call it. I guess it's like glue. I don't know. It's like marshmallow stuff in it.
It was supposed to be slime. That's the only thing I want to touch on about those figures, because they were fantastic, and I only bought one because of the slime that they put inside. That stuff was so sticky. Like, obviously it was trying to replicate and look like and maybe feel a bit like marshmallow fluff. They did a too good of a job with it, because it took me like 20 minutes to clean off my one figure that I bought, and I was like, I'm not doing any more of these. I don't have the patience to clean them off.
Yeah, so I bought 8 of them. I bought like almost an entire container at Target when they finally dropped, and I was able to find them. I didn't open a single one up. I was like, I know what this is all about. Okay. I've seen so many people open them. I'm like, I'm not doing it. But I love the throwback. I love that it's very reminiscent of that old ectoplasm, that like Play-Doh container. I love that repurposed Kenner thing. Like, I love everything about it. It was a nice throwback, and I'm looking forward to more things coming out like that in the next installment. It was a perfect perfect use for that. Like, I want to know who came up with that idea to use marshmallow stuff and just brand it as the mini puffed thing. Like, so cool.
And I thought you were going to say, I want to know who came up with mini puffs. And I was going to say, I think it was the same guy who came up with minions.
I could see it. They're kind of just minions, but like more chaotic.
Good.
And fucking, oh yeah, the minions are crazy. But back to Stay Puft. I was always kind of confused about Stay Puft because like when I was a kid, I remember watching the movie to see Stay Puft. Like he wasn't a villain, you know, like he was my favorite character in the movie or something. Similar to Slimer. Like in the cartoon, Slimer's like a good guy and he's there with the Ghostbusters the whole time. But like in the movie, the first thing you see is like they're trying to trap him, and then you don't really see him the rest of the movie. He's kind of like a little dickhead, and then like in the second movie he is there. He's not like, he's just kind of indifferent kind of a character. He's just on like the bus and like takes fucking Zelensky to wherever he needs to be or whatever in the second film. But Stay Puft, he always just seemed like a good guy to me. I don't know why. I know he was like a bad guy, but
I'm with you on it because similar to like Sloth and the Goonies, where I always thought that sort of the opposite of that though, right? Where Sloth looked scary, but he ended up being a good guy. And it was hard for me to believe that Stay Puft was a bad guy because he looked like a good guy, but he was doing bad guy things. So yeah, it was sort of a confusing in a similar way to, you know, like Sloth from the Goonies.
Absolutely. But I don't know. I loved him as a kid. I am 33 years old now. I still love him to this day. I have like at least 15 different kinds of Stay Puft figures sitting on my shelf. So yeah, he had to be here, had to be mentioned, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So if you were listening, that was our Villains show. If you enjoyed this show, you should leave us a rating. Hopefully it's a 5-star one. You could write some words there too and tell us how we're doing. I mean, if we're shit, you could tell us that too, but please don't.
Yeah, it hurts my feelings. And if you're listening on Spotify, we just found out that they have a new feature that's pretty cool where they'll ask you what you thought about the show, and you can, you know, leave your thoughts and your comments, your reflections even if you want to. And we're actually able to put up polls on the show as well. So maybe I'll put a little poll on this, ask you, you know, who your favorite villain of the night was, and you can vote over there.
Absolutely. And if you happen to have any recommendations for anything in the future, we are keeping an eye out for stuff like that. So like if there's something that tickles our fancy that we see there, we might just pick up on it.
Yeah, and if you don't want to leave it over on Spotify, you can leave your suggestions, your comments, your thoughts, feelings, requests on our social media. So you can catch us on our Facebook page. You can find us there, facebook.com/leftover pizza. You can find us on our Instagram. That's where we are most of the time, at Leftover Pizza Podcast. You can check us on Twitter at Leftover Pizza Club. And if you really want to make some friends and, get the old conversation started about anything and everything retro, nostalgic, whatever it might be, you can join us over on the Facebook group, Leftover Pizza Club. And if you join there, you get a free sticker and a welcome letter.
And if all that wasn't enough for you, you can check us out over at leftoverpizzaclub.com. Plenty of articles, all kinds of good written material you can check out there. As well, you can check us out on Patreon.
That's right. We have a Patreon now. Patreon.com/Leftover Pizza Club. And I promise this is the last thing that we're plugging tonight, but it really does help. Only $1 a month, $3 a month. For $1 a month over on the Patreon, you get to read exclusive articles. There's one a month, and we write it just for that page. You're never going to be able to read them anywhere else. And for $3 a month, you get to read those same articles, and you get access to one free-form bonus show that Grimey and I have been recording every month. And last month, we talked about the newest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem trailer. Oh, God, what else did we talk about? Scream 6.
Talk about Scream.
I saw Scream 6. Just a lot.
McFarlane toys
and that whole fiasco. So if you can't get enough of our voices, somehow, some way, that's the place to be.
Absolutely. And with all that said, we're out.
Yeah, that's a lot said.
That was a lot said. But anyways, we appreciate you. I am Grimey.
And I am Derek. And I'm gonna go watch a villain compilation on YouTube. I'm just gonna type villains and see what happens, you know.
It's a good idea. I'm gonna go watch Hercules.
You gotta go watch Hercules. 100%.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.